What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Spare Change. Today in for a review, we've got Blade Runner 2049 on 4K Blu-ray. I won't get into any plot details, but it is the sequel to the 1982 original. I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the video and audio quality. Now for some tech specs. The film was shot in 3.4K. It's got a 4K DI. Runtime is 164 minutes. It's rated PG-13. Aspect ratio is 235:1. So if you're watching on a TV, you'll get those black bars on the top and bottom of your screen. Now onto video quality. If you've seen the original Blade Runner on 4K, then you can expect pretty much the same here, and that's a good thing. Coming from the regular Blu-ray, this leaps all over it in all aspects. Sharpness and clarity is much cleaner and tighter, with crisp edges and an overall smooth, noise-free image. So no grain here, because it's shot on digital. Of course, every close-up is razor sharp, with skin textures, wrinkles, and pores on full display. When we're inside Kay's vehicle in Chapter 1, you can make out the little fine details of the dashboard and the aged and worn instrument panel. Exterior shots, both near field and far field, were noticeably more detailed, which enhanced the depth and dimension to each shot. I did notice the flyover shot in Chapter 1 looked a bit washed out because there seems to be a lot of fog in this scene on the regular Blu-ray. In the 4K version, the buildings and structures were now much more visible and easier to make out. HDR usage looked great in Chapter 5. Those neon lights cascading through the streets contrasted nicely against the dark city backdrop and was a real eye-opener. HDR now gave Chapter 11's orange color palette more gradational hues with smoother transitions between each shade and offered deeper saturation. Black levels are now deeper and richer in 4K, with Chapter 1 looking excellent as the table, walls, and other objects throughout Sapper's home were more resolved and discernible. This scene on the regular Blu-ray still looked solid, but black levels didn't reach the same level of depth that the HDR brings. That being said, this isn't the type of film that's going to bombard you with blinding spectral highlights or huge splashes of color, but rather the HDR usage here will expand those darker shades throughout, which is going to bring out more resolvable low-level detail and better gradational tones of black and grays. It can be subtle, but it's effective.
Within cells interlinked.
Audio is done in Dolby Atmos, and I thought it was a reference mix. The intro in Chapter 1 opens with a low, heavy bass tone that's mixed with the musical score and spreads well beyond your room's walls. That mixed with a vehicle flyover makes for a very nice demo if you have the proper setup. Chapter 7 was also a standout. This scene places you inside the ship with Kay and Joy as the sounds of rain, engine noise, and wiper blades make it sound like you're inside the cabin of the vehicle. That, along with rockets flying past you and a crash landing, also make for a great demo moment. The musical score, much like the original Blade Runner, sounded richly detailed and layered and filled the entire soundstage. Bass response went from quick and tactile to ultra low and building shaking. Dialogue was always clear and clean, so no issues there. So for audio, I'm gonna go with a 10. There's great panning and transitions from speaker to speaker, and soundstage was amazing and bass response was visceral at times. It isn't a bombastic mix, but the action sequences did sound fantastic, and the subtle ambiance and quieter effects make this a reference soundtrack. For video, I'd have to go with a 10 as well. It isn't the brightest or most vivid visual experience, and that shouldn't be a negative, but black levels and what color there is looked great and very detailed on both my projection system and television setups. It's a definite upgrade over the standard Blu-ray, and I also preferred it over the 3D as well. I think if you have a nice 4K display and a sound system, it's a no-brainer and a must-buy. Now, whether or not you like the film, I'll leave that up to you. Now, if you're interested in picking this up, I left a link in the description down below. It helps out the channel by using those links, which helps us bring you more content like this. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment down below, and check out our social media links. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys again in the next video.